Tass.
Yes. There we're live.
I don't even. Yeah, we're live. I don't know how to type your name in here.
It's okay.
Everyone knows who you are.
It's fine.
So what's happening, man? So generating some revenue. Schools are rocking for December.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it was definitely a different landscape this year. You know, we're still at it, and we're going until the whatever we need to, the 18th, the 21st, whatever we need to, and just going to keep presenting people and doing our best.
That's all you can do.
That's it.
Hello, Mr. Belashiski. How are you, sir? You know, topic for today. It's erased. What's more important, recruiting new students or retaining old ones?
Right on.
We got to talk about something a little bit more controversial than that.
Okay. How about
Hey, good. Hello, everybody. Miss Geely, Shane Weaver, Master Bolton, Miss Chapman. Wow. Mr. Belashiski, great record month, and we are still going. Awesome news.
Love to hear that.
That's great. What is this? Am I still there? There I am. Here we go. Hold on. There, that's better. So, anyway, hey, tag your friends. Let's take questions. Let's talk about recruiting or retaining or anything else you want to discuss.
Or anything else. Anything else.
Are we on? Oh, okay. My producer just ran in, and Mr. Lawrence has been waiting all day for this show. Mr. Lawrence, we gotta find some other things for you to do, my friend. But it's great to have you. I hope everything is great. What?
Someone's day. It's great to be somebody's day.
So hey, what's controversial topic? Master Bolt, he wants a controversial topic. Controversial topic. Contracts or no contracts? That's controversial.
Yeah. Or how about programs or memberships? I think that may be a better way to say it. I think everyone's got a negative connotation to contracts because they don't understand them. And yeah, I mean, we can talk about that, but never going to get rich on contract value, people. Just telling you, not going to happen.
By the way, Mr. Myers, our governor in Virginia, is speaking it too. Here we go again. Hey, if you guys have an opportunity, I will tell you maybe I brought it up last week, but was it after the show? Maybe it was Thursday. I don't even know. But our governor in Florida spoke. And man, he had great points and he had common sense. And somebody asked him, are you going to be locking down again? Will you lock? He goes, we're never locking down again. He goes, I don't know what the other states are doing. He goes, lockdowns, they don't work. At some point, you got to look at the data. You got to look at observable data. He goes, we're 44th in the country right now. He goes, if lockdowns worked, why are people locking down again? And he goes, if you look at the curve as far as case spikes, it's the same. We're 44th in the nation at that time last week or whatever it was, right? And we are wide open. I mean, we're 100%. You know, we could be wide open. And the curve is the same as all these places that are shut down, locked down, everything. They've also looked at studies and data that the kids are not spreading this in the schools, and yet they want to shut down the schools. But we didn't have this huge surge in August when our schools opened up and all these kids went back to school. We just didn't have the surge. I mean, you got to look at do we have any governors on right now? Am I wasting my time? If we don't have any senators or governors, we won't even get into it. And Shelby likes your sweatshirt.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
She specifically said, "Sweet sweatshirt, shame."
Oh, very nice.
Because she wasn't even born yet when this sweatshirt came out.
You've been pulling all the stuff out of the closet, man. Hold nothing.
Dude, does this look familiar to you at all? This is one of the original Century sweatshirts. This is Century.
Oh my, yeah.
See that?
Yeah, that was I think vintage '86 or something.
Yeah, that's right. When Bill Wallace held the title, he wore this sweatshirt on the cover of the magazine.
Made in Mr. Dillard's garage.
Okay, hold on. You guys wanted controversy. Mr. McGraw, how do you avoid the idea/term contracts when you present programs? First, let me say this. Hey, Mr. Rodriguez. First, you'll never hear me say, I just want to be clear on this, everybody. You'll never hear me say that the way you run your school is wrong. You will hear me say that I believe there's a better way. There's a better way to run your school. But I'm not going to tell you that it's just wrong. It doesn't work. People that have contracts, some of them have contracts and they do it in a professional manner with integrity. Some people have contracts that they do that just to lock you in and never let you out, and they're not totally transparent. And they do contracts for a membership, which I don't like. Now, everybody out there, there's another point I'm going to make. What is that noise? Is that you, Tess?
No, I don't know.
Oh,
maybe fingers.
Maybe. The other point I'm going to make is there's people out there that'll say, well, you can spin it however you want. A contract's a contract. And they'll spend all day talking about how bad contracts are. But who is anybody to say contracts are good or bad? At the end of the day, isn't it up to the consumer? Isn't it up to the people that decide if they want to sign a contract or not? I mean, if they're so bad, why do we have more students than the 99.9% of the martial arts schools? Is it because now the spin on that will be, well, maybe because you're just good salespeople and you do people in the... No, we don't. And by the way, I try to pride myself on hiring people that aren't good in sales, that just have great personalities and good, rapport building skills with families. And that's why we're so big on systems. Now, as far as how do you avoid the idea of term contracts when you present programs? Well, first of all, I don't avoid it. I mean, because I'm not afraid of it. I mean, I don't avoid the idea of term contracts. What we do is, and by the way, this isn't the topic of the show, but this was the question that came up. What we do is, if you're a martial artist, if you're a martial arts instructor, what is the goal as an instructor for your students? Well, the goal should be to get people to at least a black belt level. And it's not about the belt, but at black belt level, that black belt symbolizes some type of knowledge that you will have, and fitness level maybe, and self-defense skills and something, right? But it's just a progression. But your goal as a martial arts instructor shouldn't be as far as the scale of levels to get your students to yellow belt or orange belt, right? Okay, number one. Number two, all right, well, knowing that, you have to understand that the layman off the street, the non-martial artist who's coming in for information, they really have no idea what it's like to be a black belt, right? They just want to sign up for martial arts. They don't know how this is really going to change or impact their life in the long term. They don't know. But you all should know, because I'm sure everybody listening has taken people to black belt. I'm sure everybody who's listening is a black belt themselves. And the fact that you're listening to this show tells me that martial arts has made a complete impact on your life because the majority of you on here are in the martial arts business, whether you're an owner or employed by the martial arts industry of some way, shape, or form. So it's definitely changed your life. Even if you're not a black belt, martial arts has had an impact, I would think, if you're listening to this show. All right. Now, when you sign somebody up for something, and if you want to do month to month, that's perfectly fine. I think a lot of you, not all of you, so I don't need to hear, well, I don't, not all of you, but I think a lot of you do a month to month because you're scared that people are going to hate making a commitment to your martial arts program. I just happen not to be scared, right? But when you sell a month to month program, what am I buying for my money? What am I getting? Well, what you're selling is a membership. You're saying you pay me every single month and I'm going to teach you martial arts. And when you stop paying me, I'm going to stop teaching you martial arts, right? But we don't do that. We sell programs. For example, when we sign someone up, there are some people that will sign people up into a high program, an upgraded program. And I'm going to parlay that onto this, right? Well, we don't do that. We sign everybody up on what we call our basic trial program, and it's 12 months long. It's 12 months because if a parent or somebody comes to me and says, the first thing we ask is, what can we do for you? What is it that you're here for? What is it that you want? Whether it's focus for a child or confidence or discipline or whatever, I tell the parents right up front, I can't accomplish that in 3 months. I'm not going to change your child from being unconfident to confident in 3 months. So our program is 12 months. And in the 12 months, if you want to purchase this program, this is exactly what you're going to learn. And this is exactly what you're going to get if you purchase this program. And this program's $1,200. It's a package. It's a $1,200 program. And this is what you get for that program. If they choose to finance that program over 12 months, they can do that. That would be $100 a month for 12 months because they want to finance it. They can give me $1,200 and just purchase it. One of the things you're going to get in that basic trial program, though, is 12 months of martial arts lessons. Not because we just pulled 12 months out of the air, because it takes 12 months to accomplish and teach you what we want to teach you. Now, we want that consecutive, right? Because we don't believe retention is going to be there if you come for 1 month and you want to wait a year and then come for another month, and then you want to wait a year and come for another month, and you want to do that for the next 12 years, which, by the way, when you purchase the program, you can do that if you choose to do that. We would tell people you're not going to get a lot of value if you do that, but you bought the program. You're getting this, right? So they finance the program. So now our customers know exactly what they're getting, exactly how much this program costs. And if they hit the lottery tomorrow and they decide, I just want to pay off my program, they can do that too. If I go to LA Fitness or Gold or any gym that I'm paying monthly and I hit the lottery tomorrow and I walk into the gym and say, I just want to pay off I don't want this monthly pay, I just want to pay it off. How much am I going to pay? Because it's indefinite. It goes forever. I mean, it's a monthly membership. We don't sell memberships in our school. We sell programs that are specific on exactly what you're buying and what you're going to get, right? Now, we talked about upgrade programs. Like, upgrades are bad and we don't want to treat students, better than other students. Why should I pay more money? Or why should I have a student pay more money to get this than the other? Well, it's because not all students are created equal. It's not. If a 20-year-old kid walks in with his 50-year-old father and they just want to be in martial arts and they join together, but the dad says, look, I have hypertension and a lot of stress and I got to lose some weight, and my son wants to fight in a cage or compete all over the country in martial arts tournaments, and they want to join the school, both of them will sign up on the basic trial program so they can get an idea on how this is going to impact their life and make sure this is something they want to do. But they got to try it out for at least the 12 months. During that period, if they love it, and the son wants to fight in a cage or compete on a national level or whatever, in our case, for $25 more, he can come on Saturdays or Fridays when we pay our competition instructors or our head trainers or whatever for specific training for that level. And it's $25 more. So now he can come to that class. The curriculum doesn't change. If the dad is going to get his black belt and never have to upgrade or pay for extra $25 ever, because he's getting what he wants, but they're not equal. The kid wants to be a national world champion, whatever he wants to be. We have classes for that, but that has nothing to do with curriculum from getting from white to black belt in Taekwondo, right? Or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or whatever. Now, if you say, well, our curriculum, you should be training them to be the best, then you're not training at the level you should be to really be the highest level competitor. And it's not for all students. So if you want that training, it's a choice. That's $25. When you sign up with us, we tell you specifically what you're paying for. And you could choose at that time whether you'd like to pay it or not. And that's okay. But they get to make that decision. So I hope I answered that question for you. Cass, oh yeah, here. Well, yeah. So you said here, don't call it a contract, call it an agreement. We can call it an agreement. You can call it a financing. You can call it at the end of the day, people that don't believe in contracts will say, well, it's a contract. It absolutely is a contract. We don't sugarcoat. We don't hide it. It's a commitment. If you want to finance it, it's a program. It's a program. And here's the price. And we'll do you. It's the same thing if you go buy a car or, people say, well, a car is different. It's not different. There's a value in your mind of having a car. And if that's worth $50,000 to you, you're going to pay for it. Well, there's a value in this program that I'm selling. And if you see that it's worth $1,200, you're going to buy it. And if you want to give me $1,200 for it, great. If you want me to spread it out for you, I'll do that. And I won't charge you interest and I won't charge you finance charges either. You can do it however you want. Okay? Tass.
Well, I think a lot of it's presentation, right? It's about how it's presented. It's about how it's handled. It's about knowing the systems that you don't just have a contract, agreement, program, whatever, without understanding how to present it properly, because there's a right way and a wrong way, and there's a right way and there's a better way. And here's the deal. At the end of the day, let's just call it what it is. If you're doing month to month, you're selling a 1-month contract and we're selling 12-month contracts. That's it. Have you ever gone to the gym and you sign up for a month-to-month membership, and then you want to cancel your membership, and your billing happens to be on the 15th of the month, and you want to cancel on the 10th, you will have one more billing cycle that will happen before you're eligible to cancel. I mean, it's no different. It's a 1-month contract, it's a 12-month contract or agreement or whatever you want to call it. It's just, in my opinion, if I'm competing with the guy down the road who's doing month to month, by all means, if that's what you're looking for, go to month to month. But here's the deal. I mean, you want your child to learn confidence. I'm confident enough to tell you we do a 12-month program. If that instructor is not confident enough to do 12 months, I don't know who you want to teach your kid confidence, but we have the confidence to be able to ask for it. I mean, there's 100 ways we can slice this, but at the end of the day, it's because people do month to month, and you get your opinion, and my opinion is this, is because it's easy. There's no fear of rejection, and you guys can come back and say, well, or whoever wants to come back and say, well, no, we do it because we're all about the service, and because we need to make sure that we're always as good as our last month. And by having month to month, it forces us to provide great service. Well, it does. We have to do the same thing. I mean, so there is no difference. It is what it is. And it's just, dude, for me, and I know for some watching, it's just an old, tired topic. Like, just get over it and freaking get with the program. I mean, here's the deal. If you're month to month, I'm just going to tell you, you can be successful, but you will not be as successful as if you did programs, period. End of story. Throw anybody at me. Give me somebody, and I'll tell you what they're doing in revenue. I'll tell you what they could be doing in revenue. They did programs. End of story. And it's not because I'm smart or I'm right. It's because we've seen it happen, and we've taken schools that were doing monthly all their life and changed them to programs, and they're doing way better now than they were before. I mean, it's just it's frustrating because when you know this stuff, not because I'm so smart, but because you've seen it and you've seen it put into play, and you've seen it put into action, not because it's theory, not because it's hyperbole, not because it's what we think you should do, but it's because at the end of the day, it's what works. I mean, that's the story. I mean, and listen, if you guys want to be financially free, you can do that, but it's very, very, very difficult to become financially free doing month-to-month memberships in your school.
Well, I won't say it's very, very, very difficult, but it is just it's not
harder.
as easy. It's harder because it's just not. And the other thing, and by the way, like you said, this isn't our opinion. By the way, guys, if and I'm not, if you're doing we know schools that do month to month and they do very, very well. So you don't need, no one needs to chime in and say, you know, I'm doing it very, very well. We understand that. But then the next question is, well, how many students are you juggling to be doing very, very well, right? And then you say, well, I want a lot of students. Well, so do we. That's why I have 86. I just asked Perry. We have 86 CMA schools, 86, you know, around the country that are in the CMA family. It's like, so I think we're impacting more students with our systems, but that's irrelevant, right? It's not. But you said it too. Like and then the defense is, you know, you don't have contracts. It's about service. It's about what does service have to do with whether or not you have a contract or not? Like, what does service have to do with it? You could be a month-to-month school and have piss poor service, and you could be a contract school and have piss poor service, or vice versa. I mean, that has nothing to do with anything. And by the way, let me just tell all of you, you could charge $1,000 a month and do 10-year contracts. You can't listen to me or anyone else in the industry tell you how wrong that is if you're signing people up and they're happy. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can't. I mean, you can do anything you want as long as you're upfront with people.
Hey, let me flip the script a little bit. So I've got someone who I consult, and when I brought them on, they're doing 48-month programs. 48 months. So they go from a basic program, 6 or 12-month term, to 48 months. And this is important that everybody hears this. We happen to do 12 months and 36 months. I'm not going to just say, well, no, you can't do 48. You got to do 36. The question is what is your enrollment rate or upgrade rate from that basic to the 48-month program? And if those numbers are a high number and a reasonable number, then leave it. I'm not going to take that off your plate. Like, if you're doing things that are working and we know that they're working, we're not going to disrupt that. We're never going to take money off the table, right? And we're not going to change things just to change things. So there's a reason why for everything that we do. And I think, you know, it is not one size fits all, but there are business systems that make sense in every school. And that's what allows you to be able to maximize your profitability. And I think maximize your revenue. I think that's the part that people miss is, well, I'm doing fine and I'm not doing any of these systems that they're talking about. Great. You can keep doing fine. There's no problem with that. We're not saying you can't do good or you can't do fine. But the key is, if you want to maximize, there are things that you need to do to maximize your school. So.
And if you sell a program and they build, do you let it go, offer a buyout, or collect with a baseball bat? Look, baseball bat is only in the movies. We have a fairly large gentleman on staff that basically just spends his time, because we have a lot of schools, going to homes, and all he does is knock, says, how you doing? He says, you got 24 hours to make your payment. And that's it. I mean, you can't take baseball bats because you get yourself in trouble that way. He just says 24 hours.
That's it.
And by the way, we don't have any delinquents.
Grabs them by the ankles and shakes out the money out of their pockets, collects it, and walks away.
Hey, here's what we do in all seriousness. First of all, remember they're financing a program. Number one, we do not take people to collections. So that's another thing. Like, you know,
so
you
then,
hear
Matt,
people. Yeah.
Now the question is, well, then why do contracts if you don't take them and hold? I mean, this is a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah, there's always going to be an answer. So we don't send people to collections, right? We have a system set up, and I'm not going to go into consulting mode that we talk about, you know, with this. But we don't send people to. By the way, my fairly large gentleman just chimed in, and he's on standby. Let me just put it up. This is him here. He'll even go after their fish. by the way, and break their jaws if he has to. So anyway, Jackie, baby. So anyway, we have a system that's in place. We don't send people to collections. However, why do we? So then people say, well, then why do you even have contracts? Here's why. Everybody, right? When I say everybody, I'm saying the majority. I just use the term everybody. It's the majority of people, including all of you, hit slumps every now and then, right? And when you're on a month, you can have the best service in the world, but still people hit slumps. Kids get bored. It gets old. Dog dies. I'm depressed. Whatever. And it's easy just to say, look, we want to just stop right now and it's fine. There's a lot of people who honor their commitment, number one. And number two, right, there's people that don't. There's people that'll just disappear. But most people, when they are on a financing contract or program, will call us. And it will engage us in the conversation to find out why it is they want to stop. And we'll bring them in and we'll tell them, and we have a system for this too, and we'll try to get them through the reason on why they want to stop, number one. Number two, we also tell them that, look, you're never going to lose your time. So even if you have 3 months left on your program and you make those 3 payments, when you get through whatever it is you're getting through, you still have 3 months. You can come back at no cost because you bought this program. You own it. It's yours, right? We don't get involved on the money side. And by the way, with our billing company's not sending people to collections either. But and by the way, I've told my staff this, Tash, you've heard me say this. Let's say a parent loses their job and they're on a contract. They lose their job. The kid's been training with us. Kid's doing great, right? And they can't pay it right now. It's tough. I told my staff, don't ever have a kid stop training, over that. And we have scholarships as well. We will help subsidize or pay for that child to continue. We're not going to have a kid who's engaged, who's enjoying the program, quit when the parents lost their job and went on hard times. So these are all the make-believe stuff in people's minds that knock contracts with all the logic and reasoning I'm hearing. And I think they do that because there's people in the industry that stick people to these things and hold them to it. But that's not everybody. So to make a blanket statement that this is bad or that's wrong or that, you're absolutely incorrect, because at the end of the day, if it's working for you, by the way, if month to month was so great and so easy, why wouldn't we be doing month to month if that was the best way to be successful in the industry? Why wouldn't we be doing that? I mean, because we want to be successful, right?
Or maybe we have. We've tried it in the past.
And we absolutely have. Let me just remind everybody.
7-year contracts to help with retention.
Hey, that's me, guys. That's me in the shirt with the demo team there.
Just got out of jail, huh? With a jailbird shirt on there?
I did. And this is from 1995. But look.
No contracts. No down payments. Pay as you go. No sales pitch, no gimmicks.
Yeah. So we don't come in and just start spewing rhetoric, right? I mean, I've done anything that you guys are doing out there, I've done it. And by the way, Tash, you said, if you're doing month to month, you're doing 1 month contracts. We're doing 12. Well, not me. I was doing 1 class contracts because it was paid by class. I mean, you come in and it was $4, $4 a class. Pay as you go. Come anytime you want. $4. So anyway, and Mr. McGraw, you absolutely might need to, and that is the biggest problem. This is why people will say you can't do this, you can't do that. These don't work. That doesn't work. Look, the system works, but you said it, Tass. It's presentation. Presentation is the difference. That makes the biggest difference in the world. It's how you present it. And by the way, presenting isn't throwing the blanket over somebody. It's not trying to dupe them or it's not a sales tactic, but there's different ways of presenting things so people understand. And we make sure they understand. And not only do they sign the agreement, we have a separate sheet that says you understand, that we covered this and you understand, and they initial what's called our new student checklist, So we're very, very upfront.
Mets, I think, just rewinding 10, 11 years ago when I started as a client, I had listened to other people in the industry and so on and so forth. And I think the fact that you started this with, you pride yourself on not necessarily getting good salespeople, but just good people, friendly people, personable people. And some of the things that people hear in this industry are very salesy, and their tactics and their gimmicks, and it's a free 30 days, but it's a different kind of free, and it's a bait and switch, and all the things that the health clubs. I mean, this industry sometimes follows the health club industry, and the health club industry was notorious for gimmicks and for bait and switches and for all these things. And so I remember coming on as a client, and and this is another big debate, right? Testing fees or no testing fees. And I went through the cycle 5 times. I charged them, I stopped charging. I charged, I stopped. I charged. It's like you listen and then you go listen to somebody else. You listen, you go listen. And I had been through that. But it's because I didn't have a good way of presenting testing fees. At the end of the day, since 11 years ago, when you said, well, if you're working with me, we're charging testing fees, I went, oh, crap, man, I got to start doing this again. Like I'd been through that cycle 4 or 5 times. But then when I understood the presentation, we had 0 problems, not a problem in 11 years. And it was all like, oh, my God, that's so easy. But I never thought about how to present it. Same thing with programs. Same thing with extended time guarantees. I mean, everything. This is why business systems and the right business systems are so important, because you have to have integrity in what you do, in my opinion, for you to really believe in it. And when you believe in it and you've got integrity in your system, you're unstoppable. But it's when you're doing things that are sometimes under the table. For example, when people enroll people into a program, I don't care if it's a membership, a program, whatever, they get somebody enrolled and they don't mention testing fees, and they're like, okay, well, I'll bring that up in 2 months from now when it's time for them to test. And then that's when they have people that get irritated, or they just want to get the sale on the tuition and they don't mention anything about the equipment package. And so there's ways to systematize all of this to make it very fluid, very simple, very transparent, and very easy in your business. And so if those are roadblocks that you're having, it's just because you don't have the right system or presentation, and that's it. And this is not a bait and switch. I'm telling you, it's about presentation. It's one of the biggest things that attracted me to Maya was the transparency and the level of ethics that they do business at, we do business at. And that's why I've stayed, because the systems are there. They've been tried and proven, and they work, man. And I think that's important.
All right. So you brought up testing fees because that's another controversy, right? It's been forever and ever and ever in this industry. And people will say that's just ridiculous and that's horrible. Let me tell you why it's not horrible, everybody. Let me just tell you. So if you don't charge testing fees, let me tell you why that's not smart on business. And I'm going to tell you, because I didn't charge testing fees either. I didn't either, right? And then I started dreading graduations, because when I was a one-man show, our testings were big deals. They were, the test itself was maybe 3 hours long back in the day, 3 hours, right? And I gave certificates out with every single rank. I got new belts, right? And I used to dread testings because it would hurt my month. I would lose money because for the testings, I wanted to make it special for all the students. So all hourly part-time staff had to be there. So right off the bat, I'm paying more hours, right? Because I didn't want to cancel classes and everything else. You might say, just cancel classes. Well, why? I didn't want to do that to my students. So it was above and beyond the hours that everybody got. And I would have to pay all the payroll for all the hourly people to be there, to do demos, be part of the ceremony, be there for the testing. And then I would pay an office person hourly to come in early that day. I would go to Office Max or Office Depot, buy certificate paper. I'd have her come in and spend all morning doing certificates, making certificates on the computer and printing them out back then. And then I'd sign them, and I had to order all the belts and get all the belts to come in. And then I would have them organize the belt certificates and everything. And I hated it because I was like, dang, I can't afford this. I wasn't doing great back then when I had no contracts. I wasn't financially just killing it then. And I hated the testings. And I finally said, because then people would say, stop doing testing fees, charge it, and make it part of your tuition. But then I said, I think I can keep my tuition where it is and charge testing fees. I just got to be upfront and honest with people when they enroll with me. Before they sign up with me, I tell them. And not only do I tell them on the new student checklist that we have on the My Edge site, it says you understand that when your child or you or when a student goes to the next belt, there is a testings, your graduation, your testing, your certificate, your belt. If you're okay with that, just initial here, but I already went over it. We have the checklist to make sure we didn't forget to tell people. Like you said, in 11 years, nobody complains. Nobody, because we're up front, right? And I've said this before on the show, and this is not a lie either. I didn't look at it lately, but I know a couple of years ago, we were doing about $250,000 a year in testing fees. Now, that's not a grab. That's not a money grab. That $250,000 with all the things may be covering my costs and have a little bit of profit in that. But as opposed to losing $200,000 by purchasing all these belts and certificates and paying all the hourly people, it's business. But you got to be upfront and honest with people and charge something appropriate that makes sense, right? It makes sense. So I don't know why people are so scared to death again and say testing fees are wrong. Just ask yourself this question. Who the hell am I or anyone else to tell you something is wrong if your customers are happy and doing it? Like, why do I care what my competitor thinks if my people and customers are happy and people keep coming to me, referring people to me, and we're changing their life? And then there's this whole other connotation with, well, if you're making money, you must have piss poor martial arts students. Hey, listen, anyone on here, anybody on here, we'll set up. We got a good friend of ours runs the worldwide, the Disney sports, the International Martial Arts Tournament. It's in our system, right? In point fighting, right? NASCA, that type thing. Come compete in these open tournaments. I'm very confident in our skill levels and our kids and what we do, right? In our particular arena. So like it has nothing to do with what you're doing on the floor to what you're doing in the office, right? So just think, there was another. Go ahead.
This. Two things. I'm going to get real controversial in a second, but I'll tell you what's not right about testing. When I was a kid and paid my mom and dad paid testing fees, we literally had to turn our belt in and then got somebody else's used belt to put around our waist. No, I mean, true story. That was our testing when I was a kid. And I remember, back in the day, the white uniforms, you'd actually have like the red belts would leave this red like dye around the side of the uniforms, because what they would do is they take all the leftover white belts and they would go dye them whatever color they needed to be the next belt. But we literally had to turn our belts back in, and we paid $35 or $40 back in the day for a green piece of electrical tape that went around our belt, right? So, yeah, I mean, if you're doing some of those things, maybe it's a little controversial, And how about church?
That's not controversial. That's wrong. That's wrong.
And how about this? How about church? Let me go there for a second. There are churches where it's implied where you go to church that you will tithe. Well, some people's idea of tithing is, well, I'm going to give $2 or $5 or $1 or nothing, 50 cents when it passes by. But tithes translated means 10% of your earnings. And so there are some churches, they pass the bucket. They don't really say anything about it. Other churches, they talk about tithing and the fact that it's 10%. Other churches literally request your W-2 from you, and that's what you need to tithe to be a member of that church. So you have everything in between. You can either choose to put money in the bucket when it goes by, or if you're part of this church over here, that's a true story, by the way. You literally have to provide your W-2, and that's what you need to be tied in to be a member of that church. So it's everywhere, man. I mean, it's in the church, it's everywhere. It's just a matter of doing business, right? And you have, like everybody has options. You know, if you want to do something in life, you know what you're getting into. You have an option. Do you want to do it, or don't you want to do it? Do I want to go to the Super Show and present and be a speaker and, you know, get my airfare and my hotel taken care of and not get paid to be a speaker? Then that's my choice. I can do that, or I don't have to do that. But at the end of the day, life's all about choices. And I think that's important for all of us to remember, that we can run our business how we want to. We can do what we want to. It's just that when you have experience, which is not what I have because I've been doing martial arts since I've been 9, own my own school since I've been 20. That's not the experience I'm talking about. That's part of it. But the experience is talking with hundreds of other school owners who have the same challenges, same problems, and we find systems to help maximize them that works not in one school, one location, but works everywhere. That's where I think people need to tune in and really look at it and say, you know what? Listen, this is a system that works everywhere. It's been proven, it's been tried, it's been tested, not in Tassel's school that he's been a part of, and he's done his own deal for the last 25 years, but it's been part of all these other schools as well, and it's proven to work. So, you know, everyone's got options, and you can do whatever you choose to do. Our goal, our mission, I had a conversation with a client yesterday. They did $104,000 cash in the bank for their holiday event. Not contract value, but $104,000 in the bank for their holiday sale. I congratulated them, told them how proud I was of them, and said, but it's only the 8th of the month. We've got a lot of work to do yet, and we can generate more. Why? Because my job as a consultant is to help people maximize the success in their business. And look, if there's more to be done, then let's go get it done, because you can't, it's an unbelievable holiday event. And you're like, people might say, well, you should be happy, and we're ecstatic. But if there's more that can be done, then let's go get the job done, because that's how I measure success. And so, you know, when you talk about some of these things, it's about, well, what is your potential? And if you've gotten to here, and that's great, but if there's still more room to get to your potential, well, then that's where success lies. Get to your potential. And that's what our job is as a consultant, is to get people and push people to the potential or past what they think their potential is.
That's a good point. It's not how good you're doing, it's how good you can be doing. And that's our job, to get you to be at that level. So very quickly, how about when people call for pricing? So listen, everybody, if you're selling memberships, a monthly membership, what do you do if somebody says, I can't afford it, or calls you and says, how much do you charge? Well, the industry will tell you to avoid the question, change the subject, ask them a question, do, right? You could do that. You could do that. And if you want to do that one, fine. And if they ask again, look, then we tell them, right? But because we don't sell memberships, we sell programs. That's like me calling the Honda dealer and say, hey, how much is it a month for the Honda Civic? They can't answer that, right? And then let's say, look, here's the exact model with the sunroof, with all the options. How much is that car monthly? Well, I don't know. I mean, are you financing the car? Do you want to put money down on the car? Do you want to spread it out over? I mean, no idea. We could talk about it. We could try to get to a monthly price that's comfortable for you. So with us, we have some options for people. They can do whatever they want, but we have a paid, you can pay for it up front. So you can pay for your program, right? Because there's a cost. You can buy it up front, right? Or there's 3 monthly options you could choose from. If people are comfortable only budgeting $70 a month. So if they ask me over the phone, I'll say, look, depending on what you're looking for and what program, we have if it's a monthly price you're looking for, we have programs that start as low as $69 a month, right? And they go up from there. And if you're willing to give us 45 minutes, we'd love to bring you in, try a class out, and we'll sit down and we'll show you which program we think is best. And they start there and they go up from there. So would you be able to come in for about 45 minutes, just see the facility, try a class, and let us see if this is something you would really like to do? I mean, it's pretty much that simple. I mean, it just is. And again, this is not a consulting call, so there's details in the presentation, but that's the general concept. Mr. Sakua, sir, I hope you're doing great. You know, I miss you, my friend. And he was talking about, you know, I think the testing fees, and he said, Mr. Metzger convinced me to charge for testing. Yeah. And I added $4,000 a month to my bottom line. And by the way, some people are going to, because they're going to defend that, are going to say, well, it's just a money grab. Like, you know what they say. It's a money grab. You're nickel and diming people. And Mr. Sakulis knows we're not nickel and diming anyone. And I think his customers know that too. I mean, it's not the way we do it. When you hear people making $104,000 in cash at their holiday sale, and make up fantasies in your mind that all they're doing is nickel and diming their people. It's all about money. No, it's not, but it is about money. It is part of the business. It's about money, but it's also about quality martial arts. It's about high-level instruction. Cass, you know this. I pay more in payroll. And being honest, would you say, Cass, that I pay more in payroll just for a division that is overseeing the quality and training of our instructors to continuously get better? Do you think I pay more in payroll than the average school pays in all their payroll combined? In just that level?
Well, do you want me to be honest?
Well, I don't want you to necessarily give out numbers and tell them how many people are getting.
I pay more in payroll than the average school grosses in a year.
Well, in overall payroll, yes. But I'm talking as far as quality, and you know what? You may be right. Yes, yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Even in that level, you're absolutely right. Listen, it's not all about money. I literally grabbed all my instructors at a black belt testing once and told them that this is years ago, I'm not happy. I don't ever want to see students come here like this again. We got to do better. And I told them, I don't care if you're doing $150,000 a month at your school. If the quality isn't better, I'll shut the school down. I told them that. And Tash, you know how a few years ago I was like, hell, it wasn't even about the money. It was about quality. We got to be better. I didn't come up that way, right? And neither did my guys. And we got to expect more, and we got to be better. And so this is what transitioned over the years to where, yeah, I have a middle division that their job is overseeing instructor training now, and just constant training of the instructors and quality control and curriculum enhancement and how can we make things better. That's their only job. That's the job. They got to do. As a matter of fact, tomorrow they're in training again for hours tomorrow, every Friday, right? So anyway, okay. What's the topic of the show? Okay.
Retention and recruitment. What's more important?
Right. Okay, let's see. Yes, right. We need to promote higher fees. 69 is nothing. We have 3 deals, 220 5-year contract, 230 3 years, and 240 for 1 year. We know who he's worked with. By the way, if that's working for you, right? And by the way, and then he said, Mr. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Atwan. We can't sell the program based on low cost. Look, I said it earlier. You charge anything you want, right? But Tass, I told you this when you came on with me, and now you have your own experience. There's about a half a dozen people that have come on to our program, to the Maya Elite program. About a half a dozen over 20 years with me, maybe 6. That's it. That I said we're going to lower your rate. We're going to lower your rate. And it wasn't because of anything except we start diving into the numbers. I see conversions. I see how many people are enrolling, how many people they're retaining. We break everything down, and we could do. And by the way, when we've lowered the rate, what happened to those schools?
Yeah, your revenue goes up.
Revenue goes up. So Go ahead.
Just a little caution. Don't, if you're charging $99 a month, don't go lower your rates to $79 a month, guys. There's a system for all that stuff.
Right. But yeah, it's not wrong. It may be wrong, but I can't tell you it's wrong. Your numbers and the stats will tell you if it's wrong or right. I can't tell you that. Right. Just like I told you, I can't tell you what your family plan should be. Your numbers, the data will tell us.
And
just like,
quite frankly, that's a good transition into recruitment versus retention, because at the end of the day, your numbers are going to tell you what's more important for you. You know,
right.
if you're recruiting, and by the way, if you don't, and I'll just say this: if you don't know how to figure out attrition, make sure, or if you're not sure, like you think you have it, because I've seen different attrition formulas, then reach out. We'll help you guys do that, because at the end of the day, if I said a school, they recruit 30 new students every month, is that good or is that bad, right? And the answer is, I would always say, when back in the day, wow, that's good. Well, that would be good if I could do that at the time that I was at in my career, but so we don't always see through the right lenses. What if I told you that school has 600 students and that school has a 5 or 6% attrition rate at that number, right? Well, a 6% attrition rate on 600 students means they're losing 36 a month. So if they're enrolling 30, that's not a good enrollment number. They need more students, or they got to reduce their attrition or increase their retention. So, it's important to look at, and if you can just figure out, and I'll kind of just summarize, but if you can figure out what is your attrition rate over time, and as long as you're out enrolling your attrition rate, you're doing okay. I mean, that's kind of the formula that you need to look at. If you're losing 5 and you're enrolling 10, then you're on an okay track. Can you do both? Can you increase your retention, and can you enroll more students? Yeah, you'll get there a lot faster, right? But both are extremely important. But in some cases, it's not about enrolling more people. When we look at numbers, it's about retaining more of the people that you have. We've got a client who's with the family now, and when we started working with them, they were at 12% attrition. Did not have an enrollment problem, had a big attrition problem, and we can get that fixed, and then that starts to really get things under control.
That's right. And by the way, that's the answer, both. And is it easier to get a new student, or is it easier to retain one that you already have? And people, remember I did a seminar on this, on how drastic improving your retention rate by 1%, how that affects your bottom line. So if you have and again, if you don't know how to calculate it, and by the way, some of you think you know how to calculate your attrition rate, and I know a lot of people that think they do don't. I know a lot of people use their billing software to do it. That is not the accurate right way either. There's a formula, and again, look on my Edge. I did a whole video on it, and it's a concept. Even though Perry reminded me that one of my numbers on the dry erase board was wrong, but the concept is exactly right on. I just miswrote something on the whiteboard. But
for most schools, I was going to say, unless you're going to go through the numbers, but I was going to say for most schools, it's 5 figures, and for a lot of schools, it's 6 figures a year that you're losing on a 1%.
By improving your retention 1%. So we know a lot of schools have trouble. The hardest thing is getting new students. Put a little bit more focus on just improving your retention by just 1%, and that's going to make a huge difference for most schools, for all schools, but a significant, huge difference for a lot of schools. So anyway,
and if you want a tip to increase your retention this month, if you haven't done this, take your student roster and just start picking up the phone every day for an hour or 30 minutes, whatever it is. If you got 100 students, call 10 students a day for the next 10 days, and just, especially now, and it's okay to leave messages, but thank them. Mrs. Smith, listen, this is Shane Toss with Championship Martial Arts. The reason for my call is I sincerely just want to say thank you. I know it's been a very, very difficult year for everybody, and I just can't say thank you enough for all your support, all your dedication, all your confidence that you've had through all this. And we're looking forward to getting through 2020 and getting into 2021. And we're so excited to see Johnny earn his green belt, and can't wait for a great year. I just want to wish you happy holidays and a happy new year. And that's it, with no other agenda. No, by the way, do you have your testing fee? No, by the way, there's a parent night out coming up. By the way, did you want to order anything from the holiday catalog last minute? Nothing like that. Just a straight retention call. And if you want to make it a system, you should implement that quarterly in your school where you're just calling to thank your people.
And by the way, some of you will sit here and say, you know what, I could just send an email. And that's not what we're saying. We didn't say send an email. We said pick up the phone and make the call to your customers. They're our customers, right? So you engage them and you take the time out just to appreciate them. Wish them a happy holidays. 2020 was a rough year. We still appreciate you being with us. And there's a whole system too of cleaning up the year. Hey, when is it? Next week, guys, we have an intensive if anybody wants to join us. I think it's $99. And Shelby or Perry, if you're here, you can put the link up. I mean, you know, I don't have the link, but you can contact Maya. But it's an 8-hour intensive seminar planned next Friday, a week from tomorrow. If you want to be in that, you don't have to be in that. I'm just saying there's just a lot, you know. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, it's a lot to learn martial arts, right? It's a lot to learn, master your craft in martial arts. Well, same thing in business. It's just not, it's not that it's hard. There's just a lot to learn, right?
But knowing the topics that we're having, Mets, and listen, you guys are going to think I'm selling it, but knowing the topics that we're doing for that event, I mean, I'll say this in full confidence. You'll get 10 times your investment back by watching and implementing what you learn. I mean, you just will. I mean, it's there's so much great stuff and great content because we know what all the topics are. And, you know, if you're looking to kick off 2021 strong, I think it's a great opportunity for you to jump on. If it's something you're willing not only to learn, but also execute. I think that's the important part.
You know, the people that are listening, listen, if you're ready to take your stuff to the next level, give Maya a try, guys. I mean, give Maya a try. You know, it's not a money grab for me, Tass. You know that, right? It's not like I make money when you come on board with Maya. I'm just telling you, if you're just tired of kind of keep trying, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it. Next year's the year. Next year's the year. Next year's not the year unless you know what you're doing. And by the way, some of you know what you're doing. There's just a better way. There's a better presentation. You said this best, Tass. When I came on board with you, 80% of the stuff you were already doing.
Right.
It was just the details of how to do it and be more efficient and tweak little things that make the biggest difference. So
our business didn't go up 20%. It went up exponentially. I mean, I think that's a key point that people understand too. Well, oh, so I could do 20% better? No, that's not the case. We were doing 80% of the stuff, but the details, when you increase 10% here, 15% there, 8% there, it's not a culmination. It's actually an X factor, and it's. I mean, you can grow so much, and that's the thing.
You've said it 100 times. Just say it for everybody. What were you grossing the first year you came on board? 240.
240. Yep. And
then we started working together at the second half of that year.
That's correct. Yeah, the second half of that. Yep. And then the following year, 360. I mean, we did 120,000 more, which you said earlier. We dropped our tuition. And I'll just tell you, we were charging $169 a month for basics, and we went down to $139. And with all the systems we had in place, we did $120,000 more the next year. The next year was 440,000. The next year was 550, and then we pumped over the 700,000 mark. So it's just it's incredible what the right systems will do in your school. I'm no different than anybody else. You know, I'm an old school, traditional Taekwondo guy, and you guys don't see that because we're on here in sweatshirts or cardigans or old school structure sweaters. But you don't see the traditional side of what we do. And I'm a martial artist just like everybody else. And so is Metzger. And that's why I say it's nothing that I do is anything different than what you guys are doing. It's just a matter of understanding the right. And I think, you know, it feels like I'm always overusing the term systems, and maybe people don't want to hear it, but every great company, every great organization has great systems, and that's what can make your life easier. It can make your job duplicatable, And some of you may not want that to be duplicatable. But again, going back to what I said earlier in the conversation, listen, when you've got systems in your business and you can have predictable results in your business and duplicatable results, it gives you options as an owner to what you want to do, whether that's open additional schools, maybe teach a little bit less, teach more, whatever you want to do, you can do. And that's the benefit of having systems in your school.
Yeah, and Mr. Myers, we appreciate the compliment, and I'm really happy to hear that whatever you've learned or whatever you've taken away, you've implemented and went out there and executed. Because look, I mean, that's what we're here for. We just, this is our industry, this is our life. We want you guys to succeed and do well. And celebrating first anniversary with Maya, what a great year of improvements despite COVID. Yeah, COVID definitely threw a wrench in things, didn't it? And the best, and I just want to give a shout out to my my closet, to Structure. How many remember Structure? Great clothes, guys. I just can't get rid of them.
Oh my God. Yep.
All right, man. Well, guys, there it is. There it is. Tass, I'll give you a call. I'm going to try pickleball today, I think. Pickleball. Have you ever played pickleball?
No, that's an old person sport, Mets.
Okay, then. Well, I got my
kangaroo.
I got my kangaroo sneakers. I'm going to keep my key in the pocket, and I'm going to play a little pickleball.
No, listen, I'm like some of the people watching this. I hear pickleball and I think it's an old person sport because that's just the way I've been conditioned. I don't know why I think that way, but I just think that way.
I've never tried it, but people say it's fun.
It'll be fun.
Look, Shelby. Look, and she's not old.
I can't see what the comment is.
Because I love pickleball.
Well, it's Shelby.
Shelby, give me a couple weeks, then we'll play some pickleball.
The pickleball championships.
But first, Shelby, poker. I'll be taking your money Saturday. So there it is. All right, guys. Listen.
All right.
We're going to see everyone next Thursday for one more show before the holidays.
That's right.
All right, one more show. So, guys, keep pushing. And then we'll get this behind us. And I think by the end of first quarter next year, we should be back 90%, if not more, to normal. I'm hoping, right? So good luck with everything, guys, and we'll see everybody next week.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Mets.
Bye-bye.
So is it